Okay, so now we're going to quiz you on the parts of the muscle cell and the sarcomere models. Okay, identify this model. This model would be the muscle cell model, skeletal muscle cell to be more exact. Skeletal muscle cell model. Identify this structure. Sarcolemma. Identify this webbing structure here. Looks like a spider web. Sarcoplasmic reticulum. Identify these specific structures right here, okay? These specific structures are going to be the terminal cisternae. Identify these blue structures here. The blue structures are your T-tubules. Okay? Identify each of these columns. Myofibrils. Identify these hot pink jelly bean structures. Right here, right here. These jelly beans are your mitochondria. Okay. Identify this entire, so all of this together would be your neuromuscular junction. So all of this, where you have the neuron coming in close contact with the muscle cell, all of that would be your neuromuscular junction. Now identify the wrinkly area right here. Identify this structure, where the wrinkles are. This structure where the wrinkles are is your motor end plate. Okay, identify this space right here that you can see in the gray. Identify this space. This space is the synaptic cleft. Okay. Identify this yellow tube right here. You can also see it coming out right here. So that yellow tube is the axon of the nerve cell. Identify the purple structures. You can see the purple structure here, purple structure here, and the purple structure here. The nucleus. Identify these repeating patterns of dark, light, or thick, thin, thick, thin. So from here to here would be a sarcomere. Okay, now identify this structure right here. So this structure right here where there's nothing at would be your what? Sarcoplasm. You can also see it down here. The lighting is not good here. So you can also see it right here around this mitochondria. You can see sarcoplasm right there as well. Remember that sarcoplasm is just the cytoplasm of the muscle cell. You can also see it between each of these myofibrils. Okay, so all of this would be your sarcoplasm as well. Okay. Around the back, identify this right here. Identify this covering. Endothelium. Identify these big bulbous splat type cells. These are going to be your myosatellite cells, or you can just call them satellite cells. And that's all of your muscle cell. So now let's talk about this model. Okay, hang on just a second. I'm going to have to rearrange my stacking here so I can balance it. Okay. So what is this model? Identify this model. This model would be the sarcomere model. Identify this green webbing. All of this green webbing. Sarcoplasmic reticulum. Identify this green structure right here. Green structure here. Here and here would be your terminal cisternae. Identify this structure here in yellow. T-tubule. Identify all of this together. A triad. Yes. Which reminds me, I forgot to show you a triad here. So all three of these together, terminal cisternae, T-tubule, and terminal cisternae, this sandwich of three is called a triad. Okay, sorry, I forgot that. Okay, so now back to the sarcomere model. We're going to take off this outside covering. And so now I want you to identify this structure. This structure would be the M line. Identify this structure and this structure. They're the same thing. These structures would be called the Z line. Okay. Identify this area. Okay, this area or this area would be called the I band because you have thin filaments only. Okay. Identify this red structure here. This red structure here would be a thin filament composed mostly of actin. So this is a thin filament. Identify this blue structure here. This blue structure is a thick filament. So again, this one is a thin filament. This one is, the blue one, a thick filament. This again is the what? Z line. And this again, the structure is the M line. Okay. Now, between where my hand is here and here, going towards the middle, all of this would be the A band because it has thin and thick filaments. Remember, A band, you're thinking and, thin and thick. So this is the A band. Okay, what is this part of the A band called? Just this part of the A band right here. So all of this part of the A band would be called the zone of overlap. That's where you have thin filaments overlapping the thick filaments, okay? So that zone of overlap is in that A band. Identify this area right here. This area is the H band. Remember, H band, you're thinking heavy. So your thick filaments are heavier filaments. So this is your H band. So again, identify the structures. Z lines, identify the structure. M line, identify this red structure. Thin filament, identify this blue structure. You can kind of see it back here. or this one right here is really good one. You can see that one. Identify that blue structure, thick filament, okay? Identify this area right here, your I band. Remember, thin filaments only, TH capital I-N. I band has thin filaments only. Okay, from here to here, identify this area. A band, because it has thin and thick filaments. Identify this specific area right here. Zone of overlap, because that's where your thin filaments overlap your thick filaments. Identify this area right here. H band, thick filaments only.